Alright, don't know what happened there. It was just telling me live streaming is not available at the moment, but looks like we are good. Please, as always, let me know in the chat if you can hear me talking, and let me play a little bit of this. Can you hear the music? Let me know. Hello, J. Paul Harter. Awesome, brother. Well, let's just get it going then. We're going to start off with a track by Mr. Adria Falco, Ever Consistent. Oh yeah, first of all, apologies for having to postpone this by a week. I had some stuff going on and just some family personal stuff, and I couldn't make it in the afternoon. But I do have to say, if we manage to do next Friday, which I think we will, that'll be 4 live streams in 1 month. So I think we're doing pretty well. August is going to be tough. There's quite a few Fridays that I'm not going to be available. I'm going to be going to Balance Croatia Festival. Let me know in the chat if anyone's going to Balance. It's going to be sick. And I'm going to Argentina and Pakistan, but I'll do as many live streams as I can, and we've got some videos in the works for you as well. So let's get going with Adria Falco, Your Love. Speak of the devil, and he appears in the chat. What's up, Adria? Hey, Peter. Awesome. Nice to hear that, Adria. Anthony, welcome back, my friend. Another absolute stomper from Adria. And yeah, bro, please send me some stuff for narratives. I think we can definitely line up an EP. At this stage, if you keep setting these all year, we can probably do an album. I think this track is almost testament to the fact that, like, in order to make a great track, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like the parts in here are not super complicated, but everything works super well together. Fantastic stuff. Mr. Vocabula in the chat. Hands off my demos. You can't sign them to Holystone. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, nothing to add, man. It's fucking great. I feel like you've kind of been pretty on fire in the last couple of months. Like everything that you've sent in has just been like, yeah, really top shelf stuff. So awesome. I don't know. I don't know. I think there's probably more that other people can learn from listening to your tracks than I can teach you. Just really good stuff, man. Mix sounds great. Sounds as I said, like the sound selection is like really on point, and everything just works super well together. Mr. Nunes. I think like you don't need much more going on here in the start, but it feels like there's not much movement in the elements that you've got. So you can have like a really simple kind of intro with not too many elements like this, but just getting like a little bit of movement in that pad, a little bit more movement in the shakers. There's this MIDI device in Ableton that I use all the time called I don't know what it's called. I only use this one preset called add some random. Oh, where are we? Make a new MIDI track. So it's I think it must be called the velocity device, right? Yeah, anyway, you'll find that preset. It's from Ableton. I normally bring it down a bit, but like if you just add that onto your shakers, and then in here you can add like a little bit of random pan, you can put an LFO on it and change the rate a bit, and maybe like change the pitch or the filter frequency a little bit, so there's some randomization, and then you can make like a simple shaker like that sound a little bit more live, and then kind of take that same philosophy and add it to other elements as well. Yeah, because I think, and then also the other thing that's kind of stopping this simple groove from sounding like really, really there is the volume balance of some of the elements. Like that open hat that you brought in is a little, just a touch too loud, I think. It sounds like there's some limiting on your kick. Yeah. And I would say that the kick, to my ear, has a little bit too much transient. It might not be as apparent in the rest of the track, but at the start it just sounds a little bit too harsh with a click. But see there, like with that pad, you know, if you had filter automation on it, it could be like down a little bit and then open up into this section here, add some reverb or something on it, and then when that reverse cymbal comes, it's not just going to be this like copied and pasted effects sound, because you know, maybe like you add some reverb or something onto the drums, and you just kind of, yeah, so you don't need more, you just need to kind of work with what you've got there a bit better, and make them kind of make the elements more alive and kind of put more automation into it and stuff. Yeah, really cool groove, I think. Nice elements. I think the thing that, like, everything seems to be relatively centered in the... I think we just dropped the stream there. I think I lost my internet connection. Okay, so same thing with these synths that are coming in. The stab needs a bit more automation, bit of movement. But all the elements that you've got, I think the overall, the track sounds really good. It just needs a little bit more production, I think. All right, and what the frick's going on there? All right, yeah, you kind of like, I don't know, I'm not sure if you've like mastered it yourself, or if you're using like Lander or Ozone or something, but like there's kind of too many elements coming in for the amount of limiting that you've got over on the overall track. And it's just sounding all distorted and shit basically there. So it's probably, you need, you know, using some stuff like Track Spacer could probably help there, balancing the volume of your sounds a bit better. You can use things like clipping actually on the actual sounds subtly to remove a bit of the kind of peak volume, which will stop the limiter coming down so much. But yeah, I think I would say like most of the track sounds really cool. I think you could really improve it by a bit better mix balance and a bit more kind of detail in the production. Quite a low kick. I find that having a kick that's tuned this low tends to like make the track kind of feel a bit heavy, a bit sluggish, but let's see how it progresses. The kick also it gives it this kind of hollow feeling. I don't know, it's a bit weird. Nice atmosphere that you're creating here. that whole kind of part needs to be a bit louder. What if we just do this? Like, I'm just kind of trying to imagine that in the club, like how big this is and how quiet this is. Just turn that up 5 dB. Turn that up 7 dB, and that sounds more balanced, you know. So I think you're just bringing everything way too down there, especially for, like, how long is it, like 2 minutes or something? 1 minute, okay. But still, I think, yeah, it's just you overdone it with the kind of dynamics there. That's just going to be the way you had it. I think it's probably just going to be pretty boring. By having everything a bit louder there, a bit more prominent, it's just going to make it like more exciting, more dynamic. And the way that you kind of get into this break is a bit boring, like this kind of like just slowly fading everything out. I think you could do that in a much more interesting way. I think after that break, you really need another element, probably listening to the track, something that's kind of like a bit bright, some kind of riff or something to just kind of take it to the next level. It just feels a little bit, I know there's a couple of like small elements that seem to have come in, but like it just seems pretty similar to the first part. Okay, the piano's coming back. I mean, that could be cool. You could bring in something that's a bit more high frequency there. Then you could maybe do like a little break where you take out the kick for 1-2 bars, switch something up in the percussion and things as well, and then bring the piano in. I think it would just add a little bit more movement, energy to the track, creating some dynamics in those, some change, some shift, some dynamics, yeah, in those sections. I would also look at changing that kick. I think, yeah, just getting a more kind of standard sounding kick would probably be quite good. Sample one off a track you like, a track that's like in the style of what you're going for. So I'm not sure if it's as a result of, I mean, it's a combination of as a result of the limiting that I'm doing. But like, it's always worthwhile doing this on your track, like limiting it to a volume that, or a loudness that is equivalent to a kind of mastered track, because you can hear things in your mix. Like if you sent this to me for mastering, this is basically a few other things, but this is what I'd do. So the quiet things would become louder, the loud things would become a little bit more squashed, not necessarily quieter, but you can hear that pads just come up loads, and it's just, it's over the top. It's taking up too much space in the mix. Same with the vocal, right? I think your bass is probably too loud as well, especially for how subby it is. It's kind of just got so much energy in this, like, what is this, like around 25 hertz or something? So like a mastering engineer is probably going to roll that off. But I think you're better to just kind of rebalance that yourself rather than leave it to a mastering engineer to kind of fix that. Because like in a club, that's just going to make everything sound just crazy, because there's just so much of that really, really low sub frequency, which if you're not listening on a system that can recreate it, you're not really going to see that that's a problem. So you'll be kind of hearing the tonality of that bass and be going like, oh yeah, sounds mean. But because it's so subby, it's not very like forward. So you probably want to push it. It makes you want to push it further. But that's going to be like super, super, super intense on a sound system that can represent those frequencies. Yeah, I mean, I think the track's really cool. It's well done. The sounds sound good together. I think the thing that's like holding it back is the mix balance. It's just a bit out of whack. It sounds like it's kind of dull while also feeling a bit too crowded. There's kind of like a lot of you tend to have like a lot of reverb and stuff on things, and like have not that much brightness on certain elements. So it kind of feels like everything's in the background, like maybe the beats in the front and all the kind of melodic elements and the vocal and everything's kind of in the background. Like it doesn't feel like there's a main character to the story you're trying to tell. I think also, another thing that's making that happening is you've got quite a bit of widening on quite a few elements. So when you add like, aside from like it can potentially causing problems with the monocompatibility, when you add significant widening to something, it kind of pushes it further back in the sound space. So you want to have some stuff that you want to, I guess there's this concept called like 3D mixing where you're using volume balance and then also using like the amount of high frequency that you allow through on something and the amount of reverb that it has to bring things. So like the 3D element is where like things are going up and down in terms of volume, and then back and forward in terms of how much reverb they have applied, how much high frequencies they have, and then left to right panorama. And everything in your mix feels quite back, so there's nothing like in the foreground. So maybe try thinking about it in that concept. If you want some help with the mix, hit me up. There's an email in all my video descriptions, or weekendaudio.com, or just write me on Instagram and I can help you with the mix down. Yeah, cool track. I think maybe another thing is that it feels a little bit linear, like it's quite repetitive from this section. Once everything kind of comes in, it's pretty much doing the same thing. I think it's always nice to have some, like, save some elements, or at least one quite main element, to come in later in the track, and then that can it feels like a progression. Nightshade. All right. I think your bass is just a bit loud. It's going to be, let me see what happens when I... Yeah, I think it's a bit loud. You'd probably do well from getting a bit more movement in some of those elements. And yeah, check it with some limiting, and it'll tell you about the volume balance of your mix and how it's going to sound once it's been mastered. Luke, yeah, you can probably submit a track. I think we'll get another one in. With that giant snare roll there, you probably want to take out a bit of the low end or something, and for the vibe of the track, it just doesn't seem to match. Like, it's quite an intense snare roll thing that you've got going on there. I think you could get better effect and have something that works better with the vibe of the track by taking out the kick, maybe low cutting the bass a bit and having like a bit more of a groovy kind of fill type thing there. Cool that you have that little break and then you bring in the riff. It just helps to signal that something's going to happen. Nice riff that you've brought in here, it works really well because there was space for it. It's like picking up the energy. It's not really competing with any of the other elements. So good stuff there. Bit of Thelma Houston. So there's not much happening here. It's pretty linear, right? Like, try to picture yourself on a dance floor and what's happening when this track plays. Are you like getting excited for the drop? Are you feeling all kind of like, I don't know, maybe you're wasted and you're all kind of like lovey and hugging your pals. I don't know. To me, that kind of, I get the picture of like standing around a bit awkwardly, kind of like swaying for a little bit too long. Because there's not really much happening there, you know? So try to think about that. How is this going to work from a functional perspective, and how do you want it to work? How do you want people to feel in that moment? And like, how are you going from this section to this section, and what's that kind of transition supposed to be, right? How do you bring the energy down? How do you build the energy up? I imagine you're going to bring back that snare roll here, but let's see. Yeah, like that kind of snare roll thing that you just did there would be just a little part of that would be much better at those kind of, for those little breaks. There's not much dynamics in the drums. Like, you've got the same drums come in by 1 minute, is it? It's essentially the same all the way through. So probably you could look at making some subtle changes with that. It always helps to add some kind of movement and progression in the arrangement. Yeah, but like, cool vibe. I think there's just a few things there that could really quite easily improve it. This feels like you potentially mixed it without any limiting, or without checking it with the limiting, and then applied quite a lot of limiting, because quite a few of the elements feel quite forward. It's a little bit, yeah, the mixed balance is a bit fatiguing to listen to. Yeah, so your mix is definitely not balanced. The amount of limiting that you've got is squashing everything closer to the same volume. So it kind of sounds less, it sounds more balanced than it actually is. You can see that quite clearly by just looking at the spectrum analyzer here. I have this set up so it's going quite slow, and you can basically see the shape of it. And that's just, I know what a well-mixed track looks like. Let's have a look at the Adria Falco's one here. That looks like a well-mixed track in the spectrum analyzer. Yeah. So your your high frequencies, sorry, are a bit quiet. They're being pushed up by the limiting. But like, let me just turn this on so I don't. And like this, some of your elements sound a bit dry, like they could use a little bit of reverb or something. Maybe it's not reverb, maybe they just, what is it? I think it's just that they're not really doing anything, but there's not a lot going on in the track right now, and none of it's really changing that much. Again, this would be another track I would suggest, like, think about how the listener is supposed to respond to these breaks and things. Yeah, I think a bit more movement, a bit more thought about how people are going to respond to it, like how with the arrangement. Maybe try to think about what DJs you would want to play it, and then listen to some of their sets, reference some of the tracks that they actually play. Someone just sent a track, Carom Puff, Saturday, and the downloads are not enabled. Someone else is saying, can I send my track? Yep, send it. We'll check it. So, yeah, if you want to go and enable downloads on your track, then I can listen to it. Sorry, it wasn't enable downloads. You didn't send a private link, so I can't actually see the track. Okay, that was a lot to get a kick drum. What happens there? Why did it feel like it lost? You took out the arpeggio. So that feels a bit weird because it kind of goes from, it feels like it loses energy. Right, I think it sounds like you've got some cool sounds and stuff there for what you're doing. The arrangement just, I don't know. I think you need to maybe reference some arrangements and just try kind of like mapping out either on a piece of paper or in Ableton with like MIDI tracks what elements they've got in the track, where they bring them in, where they take them out, and then you can maybe get a like overview of what a few different artists or tracks are doing, and get some ideas about how you could build up your arrangement, because like you've kind of got like stuff happening in your arrangement, but there's not a lot of automation, and while things came in and out, there weren't any moments that kind of felt like you were doing something to the energy or to the emotions, or yeah. It's a lot of kick drum. Here we go. Vocabulary, are you still there? This might be one for you. That melody is really interesting. Is that, oh, what the? Is it like? It sounds like Inspector Norse. Anyway, whatever. It's cool. I mean, I think it's really well done. That I find that kind of like indie dance / tech house thing that seems to be very popular now. Quite grating, myself personally. But you've made a track that really works for that style. Yeah, it sounds like it could be released on a good label for sure. This melody that you've got, that you brought in from very early on, it can be really difficult to get stuff like this to kind of work in a track, and to not like it's taking up so much space and attention in the track, that it really needs to be good, and it's very difficult to maintain interest and then add more things to kind of make the track interesting. So I'm interested to see how this goes, but an element like that would be something that I would generally introduce quite a bit later in the track and kind of build up a cool track with space for something like that. But let's see how you do it. I'm trying to hear if that melody's still there. So you got quite a few different very resonant things here. It sounds like you've got a bit of tantra on maybe a few different things, which like elements like this can really work and really help a track, and they sound quite dynamic because they're moving a lot. But if you got too many of them, it just sounds a bit chaos. And like the thing with using, and I've done this before in tracks and regret it, but in tracks I've released, using stuff like tantra on either too like not subtly enough, or on too many things, it's kind of, everything kind of blends together and it kind of gets flavored with this glitchy, resonant tantra sound. Yeah, and I feel like that's maybe happening here. Everything's kind of blending into one. The vocal sounds really washed out in the background because it's quite dull and maybe pitched down. What I would suggest is probably have a combination of maybe some of those kind of glitchy sounds and then some other sounds that are not that way, and just use it a bit more sparingly. And then, like, yeah, I don't think you need to have the vocal and all these synths playing at the same time. Maybe you could do something with the vocal. Jesus Christ. Do something with the vocal. Sorry, I'm getting so many WhatsApp messages. Do something with the vocal and like chop it up or something, just to create something that can, so it's got that interest, but you're not just playing the full vocal with a bunch of synths and stuff over the top, because it just feels too crowded. And then, yeah, I'm wondering what happened to this. Right, so that synth is there the whole time, but it's just not audible because of other elements. I would probably try using that differently. I'd try maybe taking it out, see if you can make it work without it. But another way that you could do it, right, is have a section. So basically take it out for most of the track, and then have like a section here for like 16 bars or 8 bars or something, where you kind of build up to it, and then you switch things quite dramatically, take out some hats, maybe have the kick and the bass and that melody. So it just creates this bridge section where things like get really changed up, and then maybe you can go into the break and have like that melody and the vocal playing for some part of it, and then shift things up again for the part where you build up to the drop. Just an idea. But yeah, I feel like I feel like it might be better without it, playing the whole time. And I would definitely look at probably bringing it in later. All right, Luke Vincent, White Powder. Naughty boy, Luke. So yeah, really cool so far. Nice sounds, nice vibe. I think the biggest issue here is your mix down. It sounds very unmixed. That might be the case. One thing I would suggest is this open hat that you've got right from the start. You could either layer it, or with like a different sound, and then basically bring the open hat in here at 40 seconds at this drop, or like maybe have like so I'm suggesting that at the start you have a closed hat, and then bring in the open hat, and you can either like layer it if you can get it to work, or just switch it from one to the other. But I think it'll sound better here, I believe, without the closed hat. And then you've also got, if you've got two of them, you can switch it up in different sections. I like that riff, it's nice. This is also cool. There's space in the frequency spectrum for it, so those two things can work well together. Oh, it's a layer, right? Yeah. Something that you could maybe look at adding is like some kind of stabs or something like a pad, I don't know, stab chord kind of thing that happens less frequently. So maybe like every 4 bars or 8 bars or something, you know, on the downbeat you have like a kind of pad chord thing, or some kind of chord stab with delay on it on the last kind of beat of the bar or something. Just basically something that signals that it's a longer loop. I think it'll, and then you could, you know, maybe have like one thing playing in like a 4-bar section, and then duplicate that and change it to a different sound, or like, so basically space it out more, have some different things happening over a 16-bar section, and then you've got this kind of much longer, much more engaging loop, but without trying to add new elements that are playing consistently. So it's just a really good way to kind of basically synth melodic kind of ear candy can really help to space out your track and make it feel like it's evolving and developing.
I tried to leave. I really did. Hey, you reached me again. I'm still here at the club. Same song, same Molly. I tried to leave. I really did.
I think you could probably do this much better, like have a bit more of a build up here to a bit more of like an impact. Maybe even like a snare roll, and then
hey, you reached me again.
And I would probably space that out a little bit, have the impact, then like wait half a bar, then have the hey, you reached me again, maybe without that melody, without the clap, maybe with the melody, without the clap, but just have a bit more of a like whoa moment. And you can probably do that with having less. Maybe you could put a pad in there or something to kind of create some atmosphere.
I'm still here at the club. Same song, same Molly. I tried to leave. I really did. But the bass keeps pulling me back.
So, I know exactly what I would do here. So let's say you have that crash impact, right? Because it's a really cool vocal, by the way. I'm just going to warp it so I can see the right timing. Oh, it is warped. Shit, 132. Okay, I've been playing that super slow. Sorry about that. Okay.
Hey, you reached me again. I'm still here at the club. Same song, same Molly. I tried to leave. I really did. But the bass keeps pulling me back.
Okay, so here, I would have that bass keeps pulling me back just before, like the timing, so it plays just before this bar 81, just before 225. Maybe have it so it goes like back, 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 delay, and then here, don't put the vocal. Fucking hell, you've done it. But don't put the vocal over your bass. Like have the bass just.
I'll probably still be.
So with less there, so just the bass, really fucking loud. Then so the vocal's speaking to what's going to happen. Then you can have the bass. Then it can have like the next part of the vocal.
I'll probably still be on the floor.
Then you can have another bit of vocal there if there's more. And you want to have some progression with that. But I think like you don't, without that clap there, I think you can, so what I would do is here, have the bass bit, and then I'll probably still be on the floor bit, then have the next one. And then probably here, I would kind of bring in some of the drums, including the kick filtered out, maybe with a filter over the full drum bus. So it's kind of starting to build up, you're starting to get energy. You probably then, yeah, start in with a snare rise.
Give me some white powder from Colombia.
Yeah, basically that, but I think it's just not done quite elegantly enough. So I think that snare roll kind of could be cooler, a bit more going on underneath there. But yeah, I think it's got really cool, really good potential there. As you can hear, I'm getting a bit excited about it. Yeah, and then what are you doing in the next break?
Hey, you reached me again. Leave. I really did. But the bass keeps pulling me back.
I mean, you're really just going to repeat the same.
Some white powder from Colombia.
Yeah, I think this break is just too similar to the other one, and it's also happening, what, 30 seconds after. So you're going like 1 minute break, 30 seconds of the beat, then another 1 minute break. Like, I don't know. I think you could probably just do this a bit in a bit of a different way. It might be also cool to like not make it so repetitive, not have that same give me some white powder from Colombia bit there at the next drop.
Some white powder from Colombia.
But yeah, it's got some really good potential. Hopefully I gave you some ideas about how you might be able to work it. Okay, Mr. Carampuff. Love a good race like that. Hey, Luke, if you, I'd offer like one-to-ones and stuff as well if you want some help with fixing that up. So just let me know. This is a vibe, dude. Yeah, it feels a little bit like a demo, kind of unmixed. Really cool. That was a great break. Yeah. There's I mean, I've given people advice about why their breaks didn't work, and this one is completely different, but it does work because it's kind of got that single phrase being repeated through, interdispersed with this new voicemail sounding vocal.
You sit in the shade.
The little melody. It's
Smell the flowers, bro.
really subtle, simple with the bit crushing, kind of helping it rise up a bit. The little stuttered vocal. Really, really good. So have you got more drums going on here? I feel like the drums sound better here. Sounds like you've got an extra loop or some extra percussion things, which has got some reverb on it, which sounds a little bit disconnected from the other drums. It's a bit loud, and the sounds don't slot in as well. But it definitely has more power here than here. You can just basically see that in the waveform as well. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is, excuse me, I guess this is like a work in progress. Keep going. It sounds really dope. Cool. I think that will bring us to an end. Let me check. Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone who sent in your tracks. And as I said, I'll try and do it again next Friday. Should be on. And then in August, I'll do it every Friday that I can. Yeah, some really nice stuff in here. Adria, let's talk about your album. Yeah, cool. All right. Have a good weekend. Take it easy, and we'll see you next time. How do I turn this thing off?